always knew that I wanted to practice law in the public sector. And when I was in law school, I started hearing through the grapevine that military attorneys, particularly Army attorneys, they are able to gain, extensive criminal trial experience very early in their careers, much more than their civilian counterparts. And also that they get to practice in so many various areas of the law throughout their careers at different locations around the world.
I wanted to utilize my law degree to serve this country. And so there were, practical aspects. Yeah, steady paycheck, travel the world, and, hone my prosecution skills, but also be able to serve this country. Each service is a little different, but in the Air Force, you're immediately given a criminal docket. So you start prosecuting, and you've got cases, I think probably like my second week in, I was in the courtroom. You're instantly expected to be, an expert on something and leading people.
You really build a support system of colleagues and friends. You rarely have your actual family, by blood right around the corner from you. And so what you do is you forge really close relationships quickly with your colleagues in your office, because that's who you have. Back in 2014, I found out that my husband was going to deploy to Afghanistan for a whole year. And I just remember getting the news and feeling overwhelmed. I remember distinctly just absent-mindedly posting on Facebook the fact that we just found out my husband was deploying. And within, I would say, seconds, maybe minutes, I got maybe 45 to 50 comments from my support system, all my Army friends across the world, and all of them were just lending support.
One thing that you learn as a JAG is to be a very, very quick study and to have confidence. Even if you don't know what you're talking about, you have to act like you do. I remember one time I was at the front of the room and, going to start briefing a group of pilots that had all come in. And so one of them who's in charge said, brings the room to attention. And I'm, being in the military, you're so used to when you hear that, you stand at attention, forgetting I'm the one that they're calling the room to attention for.
To perhaps establish some sort of networking forum that would allow military attorneys to have some way of networking, because that's difficult for military attorneys when they're moving around every 2 years, especially since NAWL has members throughout the United States. That could be one way of providing some sort of support.
So military lawyers, in addition to being a lawyer, you're also trained right off the bat to be a leader. And I think for most lawyers, private practice, maybe government, leadership is not something that's trained. It's something you pick up. Either you have some innate leadership skills, but it's sort of something you just have to kind of figure out on your own. What are the opportunities for leadership training that we can provide? And how can, we as senior lawyers help the next generation? Maybe we didn't have a lot of mentoring or mentors that looked like us, particularly in the military. I think that is something that NAWL can help organize mentoring and put the word out. NAWL can think about, reaching out to active duty installations and, making those connections.